Hello, my nerdlings. If you're new here, my name is Nikki. Welcome to my channel where we get nerdy. And today is Sunday. So, weekly update number 3. This is where I sit down and I talk to you about what I've read, what I'm currently reading, what's on deck for reading, what I've hauled, things like that. Also, what I'm watching. And that includes booktube and non-booktube content. So to start off, what I finished this past week, which it didn't take, I honestly finished it like right after last week's weekly update came out. Sinkable by Daniel Stone, Obsession, The Deep Sea, and The Shipwreck of the Titanic. So this book, it's not very long. It is only 276 pages. 276 pages. And I'm probably going to rate, I think in my wrap up, I rated it like 3.5, 4 star. It wasn't blowing me away, but it wasn't terrible. There were instances I thoroughly enjoyed. There was some quotes that were just phenomenal. But it really delved into some of this obsession of the Titanic. Gentlemen that have spent their entire lives, their entire fortunes on trying to raise the Titanic, even though it's not possible. But they don't want to accept the fact that it's not possible. Like one of the gentlemen coming up with the idea of using electromagnets in a shit ton of ships and attaching the magnets to the Titanic and hoisting it up a little bit, bringing it to shallower water, setting it down, and then like keep doing this like step motion of attaching, hoisting, shallow water, set it down, and just keep doing that until they were at a point where they could dive it, salvage stuff, fix stuff, and resurface it, because that was back in the time when they thought it was still in one piece. It talks about the science of scuttling ships, and how the science of scuttling ships helps them learn how to resurface ships that have been sunk. And there's all kinds of information in here. There's a guy that is convinced he owns the Titanic solely because back in like the 1960s, he put out a classified ad claiming ownership of the Titanic for 2 weeks. And because no one disputed it, he claims he owns it. It's just a bunch of that. And it looks into like, why is the Titanic so famous? Considering there are deadlier wrecks, there are more traumatic events that have happened. There's been one, like, but at the same time, it doesn't look at it. It answers the question. It never answers the question on why is the Titanic such a cultural icon. It doesn't at all, ever. And it just annoys me because like I read 276 pages to figure this out, and you don't give me an answer. I will say, in my opinion, the reason the Titanic is so important is because every time you had the Titanic, and then as it would die out, like some story would make it have a resurgence, and then it would die out, and then a resurgence, and then like one of them being A Night to Remember. I think it was 1950 something that movie came out. And then there was the discovery of it, and then the movie by James Cameron, and then this, and then, you know, And then it's also encased in mystery. Like, why didn't you see the iceberg? Why did it rip apart the way it did? There's, you know what I mean? There's so much of that. But yes, 1,496 souls went down with that ship. But there was still a bunch of souls that didn't. And I think that is part of what's enticing for us, is that we did have the eyewitness account of what happened and whatnot. And in the survivors, like, there was a tangible thing for us to hold on to. So, in my opinion, that's why the Titanic's so famous. But, so this book, it wasn't phenomenal. It wasn't terrible. If you're a Titanic enthusiast or a shipwreck enthusiast, you would enjoy it. It just, for me, a shipwreck enthusiast, I'm interested in the wreck. I'm interested in the history of the wreck, not all of these crazy people thinking that they can resurface it and that they own it and that, you know, they deserve to salvage items from it. Like, kind of piracy type, taking items from the Titanic. That's not okay. That is a graveyard. Let it be, in my opinion. What I am currently reading is The Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews. I'm only like on the first page, or maybe the second page. I haven't gotten very far into it. I'm still kind of sort of chugging my way through The Hobbit. I finished the audiobook. I just haven't done immersive reading, because when I listened to it, I was crocheting slippers for my dad. So, and I started Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. Not very far into this at all either. Less than 100 pages. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm kind of confused at the moment with figuring out what the hell's going on. But that's what I'm what I've read, what I'm currently reading, and what's on deck. Basically what is on deck for reading is, obviously, I'm going to be finishing those. It's basically anything that was in my November TBR. So we have the Blood Trials, and it's right behind me, and of course, Uprooted and Mistborn. So probably one of those will be next. I have a feeling it will probably be both Blood Trials. It seems to be what's tickling my fancy right now, is that more of a high fantasy type thing. So either Mistborn or Blood Trials is what's next, but we'll see if I get through these by next week. All right, so, and next, what I've hauled. So I have hauled some books on my Kindle that it's over there charging. I've hauled, so I'll put a picture here of the covers. I have hauled Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akatar. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I probably have the name completely wrong. That might be wrong by a lot, but you'll see it here. I've also hauled Spirits of Vengeance by Rob J. Hayes. Falling Through Stars by Stacy Olson. And The Skin by J.E. Hannaford. So I went down this like SPFBO rabbit hole this week, like watching all the videos, figuring out what it is, because like I've seen everybody talk about it, but like I never delved into SPFBO, and I got really curious, so I dove in head first. And So Spirits of Vengeance, Falling Through Stars, and The Skin are the top 3 for the cover contest. So Spirit of Vengeance is gold, Falling Through Stars got silver, and The Skin got bronze. So at some point, I'm going to read all 3 that had the pretty covers because I'm a sucker for a pretty cover. And Gunmetal Gods, I just grabbed it because I heard a bunch of people talking about it and I'm curious. That's all. I'm debating on looking at all 300 of the SPFBO nominees for this year, all the contestants, and picking my own top 3 covers and reading those because it's just how I am. Maybe I'll do all 300, like read the synopsises and pick my top book. I don't know. I'm enjoying the idea of supporting self-pub. That's all. Another book that was actually, was it indie pub or self-pub? And then it got picked up by traditional. And that's Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition with deckled edges. I hate deckled edges, but I really wanted this book. Because everyone says it is high fantasy, but with like cozy vibes. And I'm all for the cozy vibes. It's Christmas in this house already. I know I'm an American and you're not supposed to skip Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. I don't care at all. Christmas is my happy time. And it's the time of year where I am the least stressed. So Christmas is big here. So I wanted to read this with my Christmas decorations up, with a fire going, and having all those comfy, cozy vibes. And it makes me want to get a hot cocoa bar, because I don't drink coffee because I'm breastfeeding. But I want to get a hot cocoa bar and snuggle up with a blanket or maybe some tea and just cozy. All the cozies. So that's that whole part of it. What I've been watching is not much TV. At all. So I've been listening to Bookborn, Covers with Cassidy, Literature Science Alliance, all while I'm crocheting. I've known how to crochet for a while now, but I decided to make some slippers like my Nana used to make us kids growing up for people for Christmas. So I just put their stuff on and I listen as I crochet. And Bookborn is one of the judges for SPFBO. She's one of the judges. So I went to her to figure out how it all went. And I got introduced to SPFBO from watching Covers with Cassidy. And so now it's just, which I will link their channels below. You should all check them out. They're all wonderful women and they do a fantastic job. And their channels are what I aspire to be. So that is what I've been watching and reading and doing this week in my time. So let me know in the comments below what's on your TBR for this next week. And remember, until next time, you are loved and you